We have a new follow-up in our unfolding environmental impact coverage of a residential well contamination crisis linked to a Perdue Farms plant on Maryland's eastern shore.
Yeah, so already Perdue confirms hundreds of residential wells are contaminated, and some residents claim it's caused all kinds of unexplained illnesses, including cancer. Perdue says there's no scientific evidence to blame illnesses on the pollution, though.
That's right. Now residents' lawyers are moving to shut down activities at the plant that they claim are continuing to release the chemicals. Here's environmental impact reporter Scott Broom breaking this new angle.
Lawyers for the residents in this case have just warned Perdue they aim to sue unless the company stops what they describe as open dumping of waste contaminated with the so-called forever chemicals known as PFAS into wastewater lagoons, a stream, and on the land at the company's landmark agribusiness plant outside Salisbury, Maryland, within 90 days.
The warning comes in the form of a new demand letter sent to Perdue, which cites the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. That's the federal law that governs the disposal of solid and hazardous waste.
The letter gives Perdue 90 days to act before the residents can go to court and ask a judge to force the company to comply.
All of our houses had some kind of contamination.
Hundreds of people have already joined a class action lawsuit over the pollution, but that has not stopped the release of the chemicals. According to attorney Phil Federico, who's representing residents like local school nurse Rachel Cheney, who believes her cancer and other unexplained illnesses are linked to the contamination.
Every day that goes by, PFAS is being put into the groundwater in this community by Perdue. Every day that goes by, people's risk of getting cancer and other health problems from PFAS contaminated groundwater continues. We've got to get them clean water now and stop this risk that they're being exposed to.
Perdue responded today in a written statement, quote, after being named as a responsible person by the Maryland Department of Environment after a statewide sampling project found elevated PFAS levels on our property, we've been working tirelessly and with urgency in partnership with MDE to address the issue. The pollution was first found at the company's wastewater treatment plant in 2023, according to the Maryland Department of Environment, but MDE says the plant continues to be permitted to discharge into the environment.
According to the new demand letter dated April 29th, residents call for an immediate stop to, quote, open dumping and discharging wastewater and sludge containing PFAS and other contaminants into aging on-site lagoons and to, quote, end the practice of spray irrigation or other methods of land application of wastewater and sludge at or near the Perdue plant. Both are practices an engineering report paid for by Perdue says may be linked to the pollution of local groundwater. The letter is also demanding that Perdue provide citizens and all others impacted by Perdue's groundwater contamination with a permanent supply of clean and healthy drinking water. The company is already supplying bottled water to residents and installing advanced filtration systems in affected homes. According to Perdue's motion to dismiss the class action suit, residents are taking legal action, quote, before having gathered the facts necessary to articulate viable claims. Perdue says, quote, the court should stay the case while MDE continues to investigate the underlying circumstances. In a written statement, MDE says assessments are still underway under state oversight. Quote, we will continue to oversee this process as it's important that the source be identified as quickly as possible and, if possible, mitigated to prevent further impacts to the environment. Perdue is close to finishing well water testing on 920 homes in the area. They report so far at least 356 residential wells are contaminated, with levels of PFAS exceeding the U.S. EPA's threshold of 4 parts per trillion. Perdue says the contamination is most likely related to a one-time firefighting foam release in 2019. But in that civil suit, the residents cite the engineering report. It identifies 4 additional potential sources with historic uses dating back to 1989. A hydrologist hired by the residents' attorney says the underground plume of contamination is moving up to 600 feet per year.
These are all my meds I take on a daily basis.
Cheney is a school nurse who battled cancer in 2009 and who says she and her family suffer from numerous other unexplained ailments that date back decades. She says her case is a medical mystery, but she suspects the Perdue pollution may be to blame for her illnesses. Perdue pushed back on WUSA-9's interview with Cheney by issuing a statement, quote, "We had concerns about the strong statements from a resident linking her health issues dating back to 2009 to PFAS. PFAS wasn't detected in the groundwater near our facility until 2023. While we take health concerns seriously, attributing illnesses to PFAS exposure without scientific or medical confirmation can mislead viewers and amplify fear in the community." Cheney's lawyers point out that the engineering report says the practice of spreading wastewater on fields goes back 20 years before Cheney's cancer. The report cites wastewater as a potential contamination source, and it's where MDE first found PFAS in 2023.
Scott Broom, WUSA 9.